So I'm sure you just read the title of this video and think I am probably very stupid, but just some data to back up my claim that large cap companies do not perform as well long term as smaller cap companies. Now, I'm not talking about like your average large cap company that's like whatever 50 to 100 billion. I'm talking about mega caps like Apple, Microsoft, NVIDIA now, where these companies are at a valuation where there is physically not enough money to give you the returns that you are expecting from them. So, unless there's some kind of large market correction very soon, or these companies just maybe one or two start underperforming in their stock price, there genuinely just isn't enough room in the market for those stocks to perform as well as they have been in the past few years. For example, NVIDIA exploded in stock price recently and now has a little bit flattened out, and every single day I see posts like, oh, NVIDIA is going to be up 25% on its next earnings report, or it's going to be up 10% next week easily. But genuinely, there is not enough money available. I mean, technically, there is if every single bank and investor decided, oh, let's dump all of our money into NVIDIA stock right now. Yes, NVIDIA can go up 25% tomorrow, but realistically, it cannot. And that's why I believe that you should start moving your money out of mega cap, large cap stocks and into lower cap stocks that have better financials, strong growth rates, and just have a lot more room to grow. A $10 billion company can 1,000 times into a $1 trillion company. But if a $1 trillion company wants to gain $100 billion in market cap, that's only 10%, which sounds fantastic. But when you think about it, how long can that be sustainable for? There isn't going to be a $5 trillion company for at least another maybe 5 years. Don't get me wrong, NVIDIA can do it. But where they're at now at $3 trillion, the chances of them continuing their current growth rate is just off the table. So I'm going to go through some data to back this up and basically just talk about why I believe much stronger in small cap companies than large cap companies. So, long intro, make sure to subscribe if you haven't. I do videos like this on the stock market every single day. Comment any other ideas you're thinking about, any stocks you want me to go over. But anyway, let's get into it. So, to back up my data here, I just want to go over one of the most trusted investment management things in the world, Vanguard's own mutual funds. I'm sorting by their small cap stock mutual funds, and you could see long term returns 11%, 11%, 9%. If we go down here, you could see some of the newer ones, but overall, you could see 3 and 5 year returns 33%, 10%. They are all having massive returns, especially recently. Now, one thing to note with small cap stocks is that they will do worse when the economy is worse, but they will do much better when the economy is better. So, this is just for small caps. You could see overall performance is right around 10% for most of them, other than these, which are newer, but overall 10% long-term growth rate. This is the 10-year growth rate. Now, let's head into mid caps and look at the same exact thing. So if we go to mid caps here, you could see 12%, 12%, 10%, 10%, 11, 10, all of them very, very similar returns. These are for mid cap stocks. So again, very similar returns we're seeing. Now, if we head into large caps, you will see something that I think is very interesting. First of all, 5%, 5%, 5, 5, 5, 8%, 8%. These two are at 12, which is good. But overall, if we look at the 10-year rates, overall we're seeing 4%. Now, don't get me wrong, that is still a fairly good return. We're seeing 8% here, we're seeing 7%. Over the past year, we're seeing things like 17%, 19%, 29%. But just in the long term returns, these are not returning nearly as much. Now, Another thing to think about is this is including all large cap stocks. If you want to sort by mega caps, which are like things like Apple, NVIDIA, Microsoft, those companies cannot get these returns long term. It can happen, but there's genuinely not enough money to do this. And I'll show that here. Okay, so just to back up my data a little bit more here, I have found based on this quick Google search, the average value of all of the Mag 7 stocks or the mega caps is $16 trillion. Now, that is a ton of money considering the S&P 500 overall is 46 trillion. So that is a massive portion of the market in just these 7 companies. Now, then I decided to see how much money do Americans have overall right now, which obviously there's international investors, there's other stuff, but primarily the people investing in these companies will be the average American. Now, obviously, there are banks, there's institutional investors that will be putting more money, but this is money that Americans have. So, median is around 8,000, average is 62,000, but obviously 90% of people do not have $62,000 running around. So I'm using the median amount here. And I did some quick math. So right around 320 million people in the US, $8,000 on average. Total savings are around $2.5 trillion, which is a ton of money. But again, if every single person put all of their savings into the Magnificent Seven would increase by 16%. And that is if every person put every dollar of savings they have into the Magnificent Seven right now. So overall, there genuinely is not enough money. Now, don't get me wrong, one of them might be able to surpass this. Some others might underperform. But overall, these mega cap companies are so huge that if you want the returns that they have been returning over the past 5 years, you have to look at mid, lower, large cap companies or small cap companies. It is no longer NVIDIA's market. They cannot sustain the growth rate that they've been doing. So, just by doing simple math, you can see this. Now, again, there are the banks that have millions, billions of dollars, but they're not going to put money into companies at an increased rate when those companies won't be returning what they used to be. They think the exact same way that consumers think. They want the most out of their money that they can get. The money will be flowing into mid and large and small cap stocks. So that's all I have. Just wanted to make kind of a rant video about this because I always see people posting NVIDIA's going up 20% tomorrow. Microsoft's going up 50% in the next month, whatever. It can't happen. It won't happen and it can't happen. So that's all I have. Make sure to subscribe if you haven't. Thanks for watching. Appreciate it. And I'll see everybody in the next video.